Hi, Chicago. Welcome to CAN TV. I am Lakeisha Hamilton of Youth at the Crossroads. Welcome, welcome. First, I want to give a shout out to my son Bryson, who held down the show last week while I was in the studio. Bryson, thank you. And shout out to Randy, who is back home in Atlanta. Much love to you, Randy. Thank you for sharing time with us while you was here at home in the city of Chicago. I've received great reviews of what you and Bryson shared and broke down for us. I want to thank you. And great job, Bryson. I'd like to let everybody know that those questions that Bryson asked, they were not planned. He actually had a total different direction that he had written down on things that he wanted to discuss with Randy. But it was a beautiful thing. I was actually in tears in the studio listening. But let's get back on course. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, here at the Youth at the Crossroads show, we stop, take a break at the beginning of the show, and inhale and exhale. So let's give it a shot on this busy Valentine's Day. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, so there's a lot going on. I was reminded today that this is the anniversary of the major shooting that went on in Florida. And I know that here in Chicago, we're dealing with shootings every day. So I wanted to share my space with you, parents, young people who have lost relatives, friends to gun violence. My space is open for you. This moment of silence is for you, for your loved ones, for the pain that you're going through. We don't get an anniversary in Chicago. We're dealing with it every day, and that's not okay. And so the beginning of today's show, I want you to know that I understand the pain that you may be going through. I understand the frustration you may be feeling with attention being given to other communities versus ours, and how other communities' issues with gun violence basically overrides what we deal with here. So I stand with you and I sit with you at this moment, embracing you and asking that you all continue the fight to educate our communities, educate our politicians, and to continue living the dreams of your lost loved ones. They may be gone, but their spirit, I believe, continues to live, and you can continue sharing who they were and what they stood for and living it out. Okay? So keep that up and stay strong, Chicago. And for other places that may be watching me, again, young people, parents, for those that have lost due to gun violence, you're not forgotten. This anniversary just sheds light on the reality, but it does, for many, feel like, okay, well, what about my situation? And that's not okay. So I want to publicly acknowledge that pain and let you know that you're not alone, but to keep on pushing. And in regards to living out dreams and moving forward, our next several shows, I need to make sure that 7th and 8th graders are educated and prepared for private school admission, private high school admission. I just learned some very valuable information within the past few months. I was under the impression that only those that were rich and basically rich attended the private high schools. I never knew that there were scholarships that existed. I only knew about scholarships for college because that's all that's discussed. There are scholarships for private high schools. So I'm going to start this conversation today. However, we're going to continue this conversation. And if you viewers have information on private high school scholarships or admission processes or some suggestions, please share your time with us. The phone number to call while I'm on the air is 312-738-1060. And you can email me at lilkee@umich.edu for if you have other information that you want to share. So get that information out to me and I can share it with the show. So let's begin this conversation. If you are in 7th grade, if you're in 8th grade, and you feel that a private high school has what you really want to do, it's going to allow for you to have the experiential learning opportunities for you to dig in and dive in on more than just reading and math. Look into it, okay? We have some outstanding schools here in Chicago that I just started learning about. A few I grew up knowing. They was up the street from where I grew up, so I can say that. Start looking into the school, 7th graders. Start speaking with your parents about them. And the reason I'm stressing it to 7th graders is because the process is quite lengthy. The scholarships require for you to submit 7th and 8th grade information. It's asking for you to submit letters of recommendation from basically your math and language arts teachers, and there are essays involved. And for the high school, there's a shadow day where you actually miss school at your home school and you attend the school that you want to check out. You actually go to school from 8 a.m. to 3 or maybe 8 to 12. It's called a shadow day. So you have the high school application process and you have scholarship process. Okay? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, parents. But if your child is demonstrating skills that are outside of the scope of public education or any other schools in your area, start looking into these opportunities. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say this is going to be easy. Not at all. And I'm not saying, oh, you know that you don't have the money, so give up. No, don't do that. The scholarships are out there. There's standalone scholarships, and then the schools can possibly have scholarships, okay? So in the next few shows, I will actually be sharing with you list of scholarship names, and actually some of those scholarships point you in the direction of the private schools that they are known for sending their funds to. And so that actually will help you see, oh, well, this scholarship is laid out this way. You have the requirements and everything, but their website will give you a layout of private schools that they're used to having business with. Now, that does not always mean that if you have another private school that you're looking into, that they're not going to assist you. You would need to argue your case from what I've learned. And the same for that will go for the scholarships, okay? Now, when you go to the schools and you're discussing with them financial opportunities, if they've never heard of a scholarship, then maybe you want to introduce it to them and bring that connection together, okay? So, 7th graders, in addition to the homework that you already have, you're already on the internet, I know. Start looking into and browsing through the websites of private schools that you may find out line up with, I kind of have an idea of what I want to be when I grow up. this high school allows for me to dig deep into, say, marine biology, and I know that I want to go into that field when I get older. Truth of the matter is, 7th and 8th graders, your dream, your career goal may change. That's totally fine. But finding a high school now that educates you along the lines of what you're interested in right now, that's pretty great. Okay? You can change your mind. That is totally okay. High school students are going through that now, and college students are living it. Okay? You're going to change. It's a possibility that you're going to change your mind, change your career paths. It's fine. So, you're in 7th grade. You're looking into the high schools, the private high schools. What you need to look for are their deadlines. When is the application due? What is the application fee? What or which exam do I need to take in order to qualify for this school? 7th graders, I'm stressing this to you because the process is very lengthy and it is actually expected of you to start it in 7th grade. 8th graders, don't give up hope. 8th graders, if you are interested in or you're in 7th grade now and you feel like your time is running out, you're really busy with school, if you find yourself entering 8th grade in August and September, and you are like, okay, no, I really want to do it now. I want to attend a private high school. You need to get on the ball as soon as you enter 8th grade. Hopefully the vision comes to you during the summer and you can start. Because those deadlines are will be in the middle of the school year, okay? And the decisions are actually about to be given out now, February, March, and April. Okay? So, start looking into the schools. Google it. Private high schools that give me the opportunity to play soccer. And you're like, oh, high schools do that. Okay. Soccer and marine biology. Where's the private high school that will give me that opportunity? Okay? Do your search, and that's just an example. You don't have to go to school for that. I'm just thinking of something unique, okay? You do your search, you find the schools that give you that opportunity, okay? Here are the schools. This is their layout. You have an admissions fee. You have an application process, and parents, you may have a piece in that also. You have, yes, parents, you do have an obligation. They're going to ask you for your financial records from the previous year. So start getting your tax return documents ready. Well, actually, this year's tax return that you're about to do, keep that handy. When you keep your W-2s handy. I never knew that submitting of W-2s was needed. I use it. I submit it for my taxes, and I never used it before. So hold on to your W-2s. They are asked for private high school financial process. Then you have the visiting of the high schools. Parents, you may feel that your 7th grader isn't ready to visit or may be overwhelming. That's fine. Start the application process now in 7th grade. 8th grade, do the shadow day. Your 8th grader will actually be in the mix with high school students for the shadow day. They're not putting them in a separate room. They're actually going to attend class. And this is saying shadow because they're going to actually shadow a student. There's going to be a student assigned to your child who will escort them throughout the building, but they actually, to my understanding, sit next to the student for class. So your child will actually experience the high school experience at this private high school, okay? So you may feel your 7th grader isn't ready, but sign up so that your child may do it in their 8th grade, okay? So, 8th graders, that's why I said you need to jump on it as soon as you're an 8th grader. If you are currently watching me now and you're an 8th grader and this sounds interesting to you, you will need to contact the schools and see what the late admission processes are and find out how you can qualify to graduate this year from 8th grade and to be a high school student there next year, okay? I'm sure that they have opportunities. I'm not as well versed in that information, but if you learn it, call in and share that with us. We will be on air for this season until the middle of next month, middle of March, so we have a few more weeks to discuss this. It's an amazing experience. It's not an easy experience, and so I want us to start taking time to prepare students and families for this process, okay? And again, I open our space to all of those who has information on scholarships for the private schools, suggestions on the application process, recommendations for parents on how to do their part. Students, 7th and 8th graders. There are 2 different exams that are needed for private high schools, okay? Let me see if I can pull up one here. 1 second. The exams are, from what schools have shared with me, the exams are not to eliminate you from anything. However, it is to see what kind of student you are, okay? Okay, I found one website, but this is not what I want. Hold on. Okay, so one exam is called, yes, this looks familiar. One exam is called the ISEE exam. Can you see it there? The ISEE is one of the exams for private high schools and also some elementary schools. I'm not as versed with that information, but this is one of the exams. Okay, so Google that if you're interested, but you will go to that after you look into the schools that you're interested. The schools that you're interested are going to tell you which exams you need to take or which exam you need to take, okay? And there is another one. There is another exam that you may learn about. This is the other private school exam, the SSAT. Take time to look through and to understand what their expectations are. Again, you don't want to sign up for anything until you understand which school requires what, okay? So you want to start, well, you decide how you want to start. Do you want to first start looking into scholarships to see if you qualify? Or do you want to start by finding the schools that match you, okay? But these are the exams that the private high schools, and I'm speaking of high school, there are grammar school processes also. If you're interested, feel free to look into it. But I'm preparing 7th and 8th graders for private high school, okay? look into the schools, and the school's website, their application process will tell you which exam is needed for their admissions process, okay? There is an application fee for the exam, okay? There is a difference of taking the exam online and having a paper exam, okay? You want to look into those options, and you actually may want to see which exam is acceptable by your school, okay? So, like I said, it's a lot, but this can be extremely exciting. It may bring the family together. It may cause some arguments at the dinner table, but you're preparing for what I believe to be an amazing experience for your child. I'm not knocking any education opportunities that are in our communities, but I recently learned of these opportunities, and I want to make sure that my viewers are prepared for everything. We already know how to apply for our local schools. You already know how to apply for the school that may not be considered local, but friends and family may know about a particular school, and you're into, okay, that's great. But in regards to the scholarships and the application processes of the private schools that exist and waiting for our amazing 8th graders who are going to now be high school students, I want to share my space with you to prepare your 7th grader and your 8th grader for this. Your student is going to have to write essays. They're going to give them a question, and they're going to tell them 250 words minimum. They may say 350 words minimum. They may say they want it handwritten, and you have to print the sheet that the child has to write on, and us parents and possibly counselors and teachers are going to be expected to scan it and send it in via email, fax it in, or sometimes even mail it in. Okay? So this is the beginning of our discussion for private high schools. If you are in another state, feel free to run with this information and look into it in your local community. I will start bringing in scholarship information that I've learned of, and most of that scholarship information will lead you to the private schools that they not affiliated with, but they're used to sending their funds to, because most of their students over the years that they've been in existence have been attending those schools. So I look forward to sharing and learning more about this. Hopefully we have some guests that can come in and speak personally from working with the scholarships and working in the admissions department, and maybe even these private exams. Maybe we can find somebody to come in and speak to you about that. But that is my time for today. I will see you all next week. Take care, and blessings to you all. Happy Valentine's Day. Take care.